he is still running things. The numbers we are seeing here just do not reflect this at all, and really an absolutely terrible place. And really, for one of the rare times during Drake's fall off, he has at least showed that he is acknowledging it on some level. As from the way that the rollout went for this album, it is clear that Drake knew it was going to be over for him and that his career was not going to look any better after Carti released this highly anticipated album. Because from all of the hype that was around this record, it's clear that even Drake knows it would be an absolutely horrible idea to compete with Carti directly, and so seemingly because of this, which again, just like we saw in the time when it was speculated that Drake was going to go against...
Yo, what's going on YouTube, what's going on? We're back with another banger. Yes sir. Now today's video, we got how Drake just lost everything he had left with one awful mistake. Now if you're new here, don't forget that big red subscribe button and that like button. We're on the road to 600 and we're trying to hit it before the end of April. Today's date is what? Damn, what are we in? Damn, what are we in? What month are we in? April. Yeah. Whoa. Yeah, fuck. Damn, we're already in April. Fuck. Damn, time is flying. My bad, y'all. Today's date is April 3rd, and we're trying to hit 600 before the end of April, so I need y'all to smash that subscribe button. I know we can do it. YouTube has been like going iffy and putting our channel out there and our videos out there in the recommended. Sometimes they do it, sometimes they don't. I don't know what's going on. You feel me? But that being said, man, that's why I need y'all to join the family even more. You feel me? So YouTube can know y'all actually rocking with these videos. Now that being said, let's see what Fantastic Hip Hop has to say in this video. Let's get it.
Now, currently with Drake, after all the attention has officially shifted away from his SSS for You album and whatever momentum he had on the charts has just been taken over by Playboi Carti's project, I Am Music, which is breaking all sorts of records.
100%.
More than we have seen, Drake is in absolute shambles right now because he is realizing that he has been put in the worst position he has ever been in. Because from Luther and Kendrick Lamar's songs still standing at the top of the charts, to everything Carti is doing working its way up those same charts as well, and with the streaming numbers Carti has done in comparison to SSS for You already. I mean, for the people who thought that Drake didn't flop with his new album, it has never been more clear that his career has been over. And now because of all of this and much more, Drake has been doing some of the most desperate stuff we have ever seen to try and salvage his career and try and stand up in this time where his album is falling off more than we have ever seen. And now before we go any further into what he is exactly doing, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. It helps me out a ton. And so now with that said, when it comes to just how bad the release of I Am Music has been for Drake, first off, with the numbers that music is pulling in alone, after Drake already looked terrible for pulling in only 56 million opening day streams, and from there it has only gotten much worse as we have seen, with Carti pulling in 100...
Bro, from his most popular to this one, that's over 100 million stream loss. It basically, those 100 million streams basically went over to Playboi Carti. Like, deadass, look at the screen. Like, what the fuck?
39 million streams on day one, which is almost triple of Drake's streaming count. In the music industry, and with a time where Drake has been trying to tell us that he is still the top guy and that this beef didn't ruin his career and that he is still running things. The numbers we are seeing here just do not reflect this at all, and really at this point. With music just outperforming Drake's album by this much and it didn't even have a full day of streaming to count for, this reality Drake now has to accept has never been more evident before, because now it is solidified in the record books. That when it comes to the streaming debuts of recent albums, not just did The Weeknd outperform Drake, but now Carti has outperformed him as well, and it is not even close.
It's not looking good, Drake.
After
Bro, you got The Weeknd outperforming you, Playboi Carti outperforming you. Man, you're just dropping tears, nigga. Boom, boom, boom. Niggas just knocking you down. Boom, boom, boom. My nigga, just take a break, bro. Come on, bro. I'm trying to tell you. Take a break or go ghost, my nigga, and make a hard-ass album for the summertime. You feel me? Like, I'm telling you. That's your only option right now because niggas are really knocking your tears level down. I ain't gonna cap.
After trying to make a claim that you are still the top guy in the industry and yet you are losing to the guy who you were not just in a full-on head-to-head with, but with all of the other people around that. Drake is now being pushed further and further down in the music industry, and it has never been more clear that it is all over. And now with all of this happening, and of course, on this album, Drake is not just in shambles because of its performance being so strong compared to what he did, but with Kendrick Lamar on 3 entire songs, and of course he is on one where he is talking very clearly to Drake and letting him know that as long as he keeps going, Drake and everybody in OVO are going to continue to get humiliated in the rap game over and over again. There is no other way to put it, but Drake's career is in an absolutely terrible place. And really, for one of the rare times during Drake's fall off, he has at least showed that he is acknowledging it on some level. As from the way that the rollout went for this album, it is clear that Drake knew it was going to be over for him and that his career was not going to look any better after Carti released this highly anticipated album. Because from all of the hype that was around this record in of itself, to Big Ak hearing this record, knowing Kendrick Lamar was on it, and hearing the verse where he was calling Drake out.
Do you guys think that Playboi Carti's gonna go ghost for another couple years and they drop an album? Or do you guys think he's back on pace and he's gonna drop more music this year? Y'all let me know down below in the comments. Me, I think that nigga's going ghost. I think he dropped that one album because y'all wanted it, and that nigga's gone.
And of course, considering the way we know these two communicate, we can pretty much assume that Ak did tell Drake what was going to happen before anybody else knew. With all of this, and seeing how Drake has responded to his album officially flopping, Drake was clearly terrified that Kendrick was coming out on what was set to become the biggest album of the year, and because of that, Drake decided to do what he does best before this record dropped, which was just release a series of strange and cryptic posts that were all trying to build hype for either a deluxe version of SSS for You, or maybe even a Scary Hours 4 version of the record, which would be similar to what Drake did with For All the Dogs, and then the deluxe album for that. And now, while some people thought that Drake was going to try and directly compete with Carti and Kendrick by releasing new music right when I Am Music dropped, as the regular 21 songs Drake put out did a third of Carti's numbers, it's clear that even Drake knows it would be an absolutely horrible idea to compete with Carti directly, and so seemingly because of this, which again, just like we saw in the time when it was speculated that Drake was going to go against The Weeknd, is telling us that he doesn't even believe in his abilities anymore because he knows that he cannot win these head-to-heads because he does not have the hype on his side anymore, because he is not just let down, but he has lost so many fans because of everything he has done. And by playing these games that we are all...
Yeah, Drake's lost a lot of fans. I will say that. His fans definitely migrated to other rappers. I will 100% say that. But Drake still has some bangers, but they're not the new ones. The old Drake has some bangers. You feel me? This new shit is not it, champ.
Tired of. Of course, with all of this, Drake tried to just create enough noise where people would be thinking about him and what he may be planning and doing. But of course, he did not want to cross or be in any sort of actual back and forth with new music, not just involving these other artists who are now bigger than him, but of course Kendrick Lamar in any way possible. Because again, even with him having all of the advantages that he needed to outperform Kendrick right now in this time, and that is just because he was putting out an album way after Kendrick put out his. Kendrick and his music have not even been slightly phased by anything Drake is doing one bit. Now, while Drake's response to once again just getting handed more L's was posting all of these weird pictures and putting captions that very well could be track titles to whatever he's doing next, and really the more you look into this, it does seem very likely that he is going to drop some sort of a deluxe version of SSS for You.
Do y'all think at this point Drake just does not give a fuck anymore and he just doesn't care, he's just dropping music? Because there's no way in hell that this nigga cares and he's still dropping music that he thinks is still going to outperform Kendrick. There's no way he still thinks that, right? Right?
To try and save this album,
man. Y'all let me know down below in the comments.
Because again, between all of this artwork and all of these new titles, to even him teasing a Nokia video, it's clear that he is going to try and respond to Carti overtaking everything by trying to make this album relevant one last time. For now, this record is just falling off and climbing down all of the charts, and for the one Drake record that is still trying to hold the weight of everything he has lost with Nokia, as this song is barely holding on the charts and is looking worse and worse every day that Carti continues to make a massive impact with this record, things are only getting worse, and they really reached an all-time low for Drake and his community, as after Playboi Carti himself shared how much this album was dominating, by sharing a screenshot
Alright, the camera overheated, but we are back. Let's get it.
Of how some of the early streaming charts looked after the album dropped, and in one of them, you saw Carti's album was everywhere in the top, aside from two spots which were occupied by Kendrick Lamar and SZA's Luther, and Drake's Nokia, as Carti blurred out Nokia and Drake's name entirely and showed off the other non-album song from Kendrick there. Drake fans lost it, as they felt like this was the biggest piece of proof they needed to see on how the industry is against Drake and how they do not want him to win whatsoever.
That's crazy,
with this, I don't know why they can't just accept the reality that Carti is clearly on Team Kendrick at this point because he likes what Kendrick has to offer musically. And again, while Drake can try and act surprised by this and make his fan base just keep pushing these narratives, if we just look at what actually happened, if we go back to the track No Face where Drake tried to put Carti on his side in this beef, but of course we found out that when the actual official song was put out, Carti did not clear his vocals, which shows that he didn't just not want anything to do with Drake and his music, But in reality, he was probably pretty annoyed at Drake for trying to put his name within a song where he was talking crazy about all the people who were on this very album, like Kendrick, Metro, Future, and The Weeknd as a whole. Overall, right then and there, Drake and everyone should have realized where these two stood, and beyond just that, while the Drake community is trying to act like Drake belonged on this record, or that Kendrick was the one who apparently took Drake off the album, which is something that Act is trying to convince everyone of. When Drake did his big unfollowing spree to split his ties officially with people like LeBron, DeMar DeRozan, Kendrick, and many others who he felt turned against him in the beef, Carti was also a part of this group that he publicly unfollowed, so again right there, he let everybody know that they were not on good terms. So at this point, when it comes to whatever split happened between Drake and Carti, Drake clearly did this to himself, and he should not be trying to once again play the victim when it comes to the narrative about him being left off this record, and I mean with this entire album from Carti.
I'm not gonna lie, if Drake unfollowed Carti after Carti dropped his album, that's because Drake was just 100% salty that he looked on the billboard and seen nothing but Playboi Carti and not his song at all. So yes, I'm pretty sure that's why the nigga was just hella salty.
Drake has to realize at this point, from his pathetic little post to his actual album, which offered nothing slightly interesting that made people want to get back on his side or just actually look forward to what the future of his career had to offer. Because again, overall, this record was the most uninspired and delusional piece of work he has ever released. Because of his own failure, nobody is interested in Drake the way they once were, and right now, by doing things like these, he is really just revealing how much he has lost and how desperate he is to try and gain back any sort of attention. And with this entire album that Carti put out,
oh no. We almost got the whole video with
I
no
was told
ads.
that there was a fire at 6:30.
with all the collaborators on it just running around together and creating an album that is garnering so much attention, what Drake is now seeing is that after a time where he believed that he was the key to everything and that his presence was needed on these massive...
Alright, I don't know. The camera's it's just that time, I guess, where the camera's getting hella hot. I cut the AC on, so hopefully it drops the temperature of the room so the camera stops freezing, but let's finish this off.
blockbuster records in order to make them as big as they were, he was just never bigger than the system and more valuable than everything else, and if anything, Drake was holding things back because for an album that was so groundbreaking from Carti and was led in terms of the features department by Kendrick Lamar to be pulling in the numbers that it has so far, I don't think it's a coincidence that this record is doing what it is in this exact moment in time. And so overall, while Drake is going to continue to run around and try to do whatever he can to keep getting attention and make this Nokia record hold up the rest of his failing album, with this 30-song album from Carti, which has created so much new music for him to go against, and of course, with Kendrick Lamar now having a bigger presence within everything than ever because he really is about to have so many different songs on the charts after these 3 new tracks from Carti and him end up landing wherever they do. Overall, Drake is done for now, and he is really being left behind with the release of this new album, but as he is clearly trying to do something else with the entire era of SSS for You before he moves on fully, because again, he is not going to let this thing fail and be forgotten about like this, which is very clear from everything he is hinting. It's going to be interesting to see how his cringe cryptic posts actually end up setting up what I am sure is going to become a deluxe to that record. Because as Drake needs attention in this time and is trying to do anything he can to accomplish anything, it now seems like his last option left in this time is going to be to release a Scary Hours project where at the very least, while the music may not be good, if Drake is actually in his rapping bag, while he may be saying the most ridiculous things possible, because...
Yeah, I don't know. Y'all let me know down below in the comments if y'all think if Drake releases a Scary Hours album, that shit will go up and stay in the top 10. I don't know, man, to be honest. I don't know. Y'all let me know down below in the comments how y'all feeling about that, and let me know other videos y'all want me to react to down below. And I'll catch y'all in tomorrow's video at 3 p.m. We are